Hi, Genesisters. Yeah, so it's Chaos Origins regional season, and it's just Chaos Origins season in general. We're past the WCQ, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the Genesis deck that I plan on running in this upcoming format. Now, you're probably seeing right now that it's Darklord. It's no secret if you know what the cards look like. If you have eyes and you're watching the video, you're seeing Darklord cards. Couple reasons for this. One, Genesis cards have been kind of a pain in the neck for me to get a hold of for some of the staples, so I'm really just kind of hunkering down with what I've already got and not trying to force too much with online orders. If I can get stuff in person, great, then it's in my hands today. It's just taking too long to get some of these 5-cent staples. And I don't blame the sellers, it's not their fault. They gotta wait, they're paying $1 on shipping and it's a $5 order. It's okay if they get low priority and don't track it, but the cards just keep getting lost in the mail, and I'm just having a bad time trying to get them. So here's what I'm running. Darklord, it's what I've already got. It's what I think is already working. And most importantly, I don't think it's getting hit at all. It had no real showing at the WCQ. So I think if I'm right, if anything, these cards might get a little bit cheaper, and then other decks will be hit in the process. Obviously, the clear answer, if you want to just win, go Blitzclick. I'm not quite doing that because I think Blitzclick is going to get pointed, and if it doesn't, then perhaps this is my protest vote. Perhaps I am a third-party voter in this instance. But Darklord, I think, has the schmovement to get where you need to go. So let's get into it. I've got a couple of Darklord Morning Stars. I run this at 2 because you need to get more than one copy of the first Darklord out in a lot of grindy games, and you can't guarantee you get this card back for fusion, and your board wipe excuse me, and your board wipe is contingent on you using this Morning Star for the fusion. So I run it at 2. You could argue for 3, but it gets to be a little bit of a brick at 3. One Darklord Desire, because you can cheese pop a card every once in a while, like that's a good enough value. I run this instead of 3 Morning Stars. You could maybe do 3 instead, but Desire is just a fun, cheesy way to pop a card, and they don't necessarily see it coming. 3 X-Shell, it's 7 points, but it's still worth it because it just gives you deep draw, it just gives you bodies, and you have enough Darklord monsters and cards, because you don't need a monster, you need a Darklord card. And you have enough Darklord cards in this deck that you're almost guaranteed to be able to use this effect. So draw 2 is huge for 7 points, I'll still take it. 1 Tez, Darklord's Tezcatlipoca. This guy is, he's just good. He is a card that you really want to be able to get in your hand because it can help you avoid destruction. I like to use him a lot against a friend I have that plays GMX Jirak, and for me, this is a great way to avoid one of the nukes. There's going to be more than one always, but this guy just can help you avoid an instance of destruction. And he has that secondary effect that the fusion monsters have, where if you send out Tez, you can use one of your Darklord spells in the graveyard. So, Banishment of the Darklords is in your graveyard, you can add another card to your hand. Pretty good if you need him in a pinch, but mostly I like him for that destruction immunity. Nastin is kind of in a similar boat, where you just have one of, because it's a nice big body, you can use it to make Evening Star. And also, he gives you that effect where you can use one of your Darklord spells or traps in the grave. On top of all this, you can summon him with discarding. So let's say you draw a hand with Nastin, Googlet, and Darklord Dance. You can activate Nastin to send your Googlet to the graveyard, and then you can get that add to hand from the Googlet, so then you can have, your whatever it is, your Judy, so you can get your normal summon line, or another Darklord Dance to guarantee it. But either way, you get Darklord Dance in the graveyard, so Nastin's now on the field and can use that fusion summon effect because that card's in the graveyard. And then on top of that, you also are still able to normal summon. So this card's really good, but it's only a one-of because it's kind of fringe, and it's not in any of your main lines. He's just a really useful guy to have around. And he looks badass. Look at that guy, Nasty Nork. Here's my favorite, Googleplex, is what my friends call him. Darklord Golgolet. My favorite thing about this card is if you can get your opponent to activate the effect and fairy lock themselves. I've had it happen more than once on a simulator. I don't think it's ever going to happen in paper, but it just makes me laugh every time. Anyway, Darklord Golgolet, this guy is just huge because he is a search when you throw him to the graveyard. And that happens a lot with this deck that doesn't mind things being in the graveyard. So you always want to find this guy in your hand, and if you can't get him in your hand, you want to put him in the graveyard as soon as possible. Golgolet, that's my guy right there. If you don't know about Dark Lords, this guy is crucial. Stop this guy from working. Then we've got Indulge Dark Lord. I'm running it at 3. This is a little bit controversial, but this is a me thing. Because she's my friend, right? But no, mostly because this is just a good normal summon in a pinch. It's a good Dark Lord body. It's just a generically really strong card to have around. So I like to have it at 3. I see a lot of people running it at 2. For me, it just doesn't feel... I've never been sad to see it in my hand. Maybe I need to play more. Maybe it'll come out with testing. But I've never been sad to see it. Blazing Cartesia, because it's 3 points, but they're the best 3 points in the deck, because Cartesia can get you Grand Guignol. Grand Guignol can send Golgolet to the graveyard. Golgolet to the graveyard can let you add any Dark Lord card to hand. And boom, with Fusion Deployment, which we are running at 3, that Cartesia is a free summon that literally, with any Dark Lord card in your hand, can get your full combo going. So 1 Cartesia is huge. You only need 1 because you can run 3 Fusion Summons and Grand Guignol. Oh, speaking of, I have 2 Grand Guignols in here. Because, you know, it's a structure deck card. I've got a million of them. And the extra deck, there's some wiggle room, as you can see by the 14 cards and my inexperience. Yeah, so Dark Lord Judy comes in next. 3 of him. He's just really big. I love my little Thoth, a little Ibis man. And, yeah, he's probably your best normal summon because he gets you Indulge, which is your second best normal summon, and then you can, with Indulge, and you literally go normal summon Judy, special summon Indulge, special summon, usually I do like special summon Golgolet on the enemy field if I know I can access Dark Lord Dance or send it to the graveyard. If not, the lines get a little weird, but either way, Golgolet to the enemy field, Ix-Shell to your own hand, discard Ix-Shell and something else you've got in your hand. Now you're drawing 2. Your interaction off this 1 normal summon is insane for 5 points. So I have no qualms with running it. It's big. And I don't think it's going to get pointed more because Dark Lords didn't really have a great showing. Next up, we've got the Heralds. I'm running 2 green, 3 orange. This is up to you if you'd like to change it. I'm running 2 green because they're 2 points, and it's the one I never really use. I feel like too many Genesis decks are monster dependent and not spell dependent. Now, this could come back to bite me. I could get screwed over on this depending on the matchup, and I acknowledge that. It's true. I'm really ripe for monster and board negates, but my spell negates are a little questionable for my opening hands. So... yeah, 2 Herald of the Green Light, you can feel free to change that up, but the 3 Orange Light is non-negotiable for me because so many Genesis decks, if you negate and destroy their normal summon, you win the game. And so this card wins games consistently. It shuts down opponents. It absolutely demolishes Xyz and Synchro decks because it not only negates the effect, which usually is going to go plus, it also destroys the body. It's a non-negotiable 3 of. Banishment of the Dark Lords, again, non-negotiable 3 of, add any card to hand. Yeah, it's a once per turn, but add any card to hand. You can't really go wrong with it. Dark Lord Contact, this is a 1 of, and I usually will get to it off of Evening Star. And the only reason that happens is because Evening Star sets a Dark Lord spell, and I've probably already used Dance, and I've probably already used Banishment by the time Evening Star gets out. In a lot of games, depending on how I'm comboing and how I'm feeling. So Contact usually is a 1-of that gets set because it'll get used. I also think that's Nastin on the art. Look at him. Good for that guy. 2 Dark Lord Dance because you want to see it, but you don't want to see it all the time. Right? Isn't that what's the line? Say the line. But Dark Lord Dance, it's a 2-of. I can't really explain it beyond. You don't need 3, it's once per turn, and you can seek it. Search it? Seek it. Ew, what is this, hide and seek? I've been playing too much hide and seek lately. You think I'm joking because I'm an adult man, but I work with middle schoolers, and we literally were playing hide and seek yesterday. So, checkmate, atheists. After that, we've got 3 fusion deployments. This is just free Cartesia. It can be a brick if you're not careful in this deck because you have a lot of locks. You have Dark Lord Judy will stop you from being able to use it. Golgolet can stop you depending on how you use it. Indulge Dark Lord will lock you. And I'm sure there's others too, but usually I just assume my Dark Lord cards are going to lock me into Dark Fairies. I should probably have them memorized. I'll be working on that as I get this deck, hammered in and ready to go. But yeah, 3 fusion deployment because it's really your best blind starter. You can never go wrong with just dropping it before you do anything else. If it baits interaction, it baits interaction. If it doesn't, you've got a Cartesia send Granguinol add the hand, blah, blah, blah. You know, you have anything you want. You have the entire deck off of this card. So fusion deployment is a 3 of. Mutiny in the Sky. This is kind of a weird card. It's not a Darklord card, but it reads and feels like one. Fusion summon 1 Fiend or Fairy fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling Fiend and or Fairy monsters from your graveyard into the deck as material. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send 1 Fiend or Fairy monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Add this card to your hand. It's a recursion summon card. It's nice because it doesn't lock you in. And it's a once per turn, but it just lets you get another fusion if your dance has been negated, or I don't know. This is a card that I like. It's good for a grind game, but you're not too likely to see it because it's a one-of without the ability to search it. So good when you get it. I don't count on it. 2 Forbidden Chalice because it's a 1-card wonder, and it's just great with this deck. You can search it, by the way. Did I mention that? I don't think I did, but I didn't mention it on purpose. If you don't know, Darklord Golgolette will let you add a Darklord or Forbidden Quick Play spell. So you can add any of your Darklord cards, or if you can wait a little longer, or if you've got a great hand and you don't need to, maybe off of your Cartesia, if your Granguignol, you could send Golgolette, I'm going to add Forbidden Droplet to my hand. I don't have a copy of Forbidden Crown anymore. I did sell it, which is tragic. But, you know, you do what you do. You make the decisions you make. Forbidden Droplet is still amazing. Forbidden Crown would be phenomenal. I really need to get one of those in here. That should be in the deck instead of the Super Poly. I don't have the card. This is about me playing it in paper at my regionals next month. Right? The simulators are great, but for me, it's really important to keep a hold of what decks I'm actually building and actually playing. And again, that's just a me thing. I don't think everyone should do that, but that's how I like to play with the game. Anyway, Forbidden Droplet is, again, it's searchable in this deck. It's a phenomenal board-breaking card, and you can search it. That's all I gotta say. As I have already explained, I would have a Forbidden Crown instead of the Super Poly, but this Super Poly comes up. Now, there's probably a card in my extra deck you've been looking at and scratching your head and saying, 5 points is kind of a lot for just a fucking bunk card that you don't have the sauce to fix. That's true. But if that card is the Dragon that Devours the Dogma, and you notice this and you thought this was a stupid, insane choice, you're right. This card is bad. This card makes no sense in this deck. Until you go to my locals and you realize, oh, 7 of the people who go to this locals of like a dozen, 20 max people, 7 or 8 of the best players are all playing branded every fucking week. It's branded every day. It's branded. So you got to put the Dragon that Devours the Dogma in every deck, even with no Albaz, because if you have Super Poly, you can make Dogma. And if you catch your opponent off guard when they're expecting to Albaz you and you Albaz them, it's actually kind of good. This is my secret sauce. This is not a good card. Do not think that you need to run Dragon that Devours the Dogma in Super Poly. But it has worked out amazingly for me, and I do stand by it. When the Crown comes into the deck, I'm going to rework some stuff because I'll be able to cut the Dragon, and I'll also be able to work on some other additions because I'll have 8 extra points. So those 8 points will be put to use. Probably going to see some Raigekis, some other good board and spell trap breakers. We'll see what I come up with. Anyway. Last cards are one of these 3 Darklord traps. Rebellion is a pop 1. Fallen Angel in Darkness is a summon from Banishment, which will come up in every grind game with this deck because you're always banishing. And the Sanctified Darklord, which was a negate and life point gain, but mostly a negate. Big thing about these is pop, negate, summon, and they can all be activated with your effects like Nastin and Tez, and your Darklord cards that can activate a spell trap. So you can use them twice in one turn even. So keep that in mind. You can get double negated. I've actually won a couple games pretty cheesily off of an Evening Star quick effect negate because Sanctified Darklord is in the graveyard. Sanctified Darklord is not a cheap card either. I think this is one of the more expensive in the decks. Oh, whoa, get out of here. Bruh. Hello? Okay. Can I help you? Guys. What have I done? What have I done? Alright, let's just save and exit. Okay, now it's working just fine. Alright, it's fine. Shout out Omega. YG Omega is still a great software. Sometimes it gets weird. Okay, yeah, so that's the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. We got 3 First Dark Lords because this is your board wipe. This is your 5k body. I know it says 4k, 5k with Dark Lord Dance. Don't forget that. So this is just a huge body that you can drop down on the board. Not targetable. That's pretty tough. If you've got Tez in your hand, you can avoid 1 instance of destruction. So 5k body that can't target and have to destroy twice. That's pretty good. Same thing goes with Dark Lord Evening Star. It's a 4k body that they just can't target, and it also sets a spell and trap from the deck. That's the custom card part of it. This card is custom. It literally special summons 4k non-targetable body, and I think I'm also going to quick effect, or not quick effect, on summon, set a spell and trap. And I think I also have the ability to quick effect use any spell or trap effect from my archetype that's in the graveyard. Oh yeah, including one of those 2 I just said. So, Evening Star is a custom card. You want this card out as soon as possible. This is your backbone for getting your engine where it needs to be. Just be careful for board wipes. Like I said, I have a friend that plays a lot of GMX and Dirac, and those board nukes can screw you over if you get too zealous in setting your cards. You know, setting your spells and traps, they can get destroyed on you. So, be careful. Next up, we have that Dogma. I already explained, this is a use case for just me. This is in my deck because I actually run it. It comes up a lot of my, with my local scene, with the people I'm playing in public events. So, I run it. I don't think you should, unless you're in the same boat as me. So, you catch me at locals, maybe you should try this, I don't know. Grand Guignol, the Dust Dragon. You gotta run 2 of it because you have 3 fusion deployments, and you need to send this, you don't need to send this to the graveyard, but you need this to send Golgolette to the graveyard. So, having another copy, just in case, is big, and you have the extra deck room, because my collection is kind of small. We've also got Garura, Wings of Resonant Life. It's a good Super Poly target. We've got Super Poly. It can also get you a card in some weird situations. Mud Dragon of the Swamp, again, it's a good Super Poly target, running these 2 side by side because this card is in the deck. Despian Quaritus. Arthritis? Yeah, I'm running 2 Despian monsters because I have Grand Guignol, so might as well run Quaritus because you can drop them all your opponent's monsters attack to 0, which, you know, is pretty big when you can get a 5k body out. And Lulu Willilith is, again, there's some fringe cases where that can make your big bodies even bigger. It's also a good negate. And the last card I have in here is a tech card. It's Fairy Cheer Girl, because, you know, it lets you draw 1 card, and there's a non-zero chance you're going to end up with 2 level 4 monsters in the field, because most of the times you summon Judy, you're going to bring out Indulged. And if your combo is clean, if you've got lots of wiggle room, there's no harm in doing a little deeper draw with a Fairy Cheer Girl. So, I do it more often than you'd think. Comes up a lot. Let's get into the side deck, and yeah, this is kind of the part where the deck is a little more open to your interpretation, and like I said, it is going to change because I've got 8 points coming my way as soon as I can get a Forbidden Crown. That will change up my deck because I'll drop Super Poly, I'll drop Dogma, I might even drop Garura and Mud Dragon. We'll see. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because it's still a $100 card. I'm not guaranteeing anything. So, in my side deck here, I've got 1 Dark Hole because a board wipe really does make a difference in some matchups. Wish I could side more, I just don't have the points for it, and you could arguably put more of them in here, but I have Harpy's Feather Duster because I think spell and trap wipes are really where this deck struggles. I'm not too worried about your monsters. I've got a lot of negates, I've got a lot of workarounds, I can search Forbidden Droplet, so I'm not too worried about monsters, but I am worried about spells and traps in certain matchups. So I do have the Harpy's Feather Duster in the side. This is my favorite tech card I've been running in Genesis. This is my pet card. I have it in most of my Genesis decks. You'll see Forbidden Dress. This is actually, it's really good. It's not the best Forbidden card. It's not Lance. It's not Chalice even. It's definitely not Droplet or Crown. But Forbidden Dress is actually surprisingly good. You can really get a lot of value off of making your card indestructible. Now, most of the time I will use it on a card that can be targeted or can't be targeted already. So it's really the destruction immunity that's big, but destruction immunity in Genesis is enough a lot of the time, if you can get there. Now, there's always some workarounds, Jirac Stegos instead, extra deck, but I've got a grudge, can you tell? But yeah, Forbidden Dress really does come in handy, because you can avoid destruction, it can avoid those field nukes, and it's also 0 points. Whereas Forbidden Lance, which I do also run, but it's a cost a point, so I only have one of it. It might be worth more than one, but unaffected by other spells and traps, it's huge. Monster destruction is still kind of dangerous though. So I think Lance could be worth an argument for this deck because you have so much monster negate. At your disposal, you can negate so many monsters, so maybe unaffected by spells and traps would be bigger. We'll see in the next couple weeks of playtesting. I'll probably come back and maybe give an update. We've got 3 Forbidden Scripture. This one is, I think, just another good cheesy card. No one's ever going to expect you to have it, and if they're playing a deck that's going to like buff them up beyond my 5k body, if I think that they're planning to come in with a big strike, there's actually a lot of situations where everything on the field is put aside. Can you beat my 4,000 first Darklord? And the answer is more often than not, no. If everything else on the field is negated, can you beat 4k? Do your stats on your card say 4k? That's the challenge Forbidden Scripture drops in this deck, and I think that's a good challenge because the answer is very often no. We've got 3 Twin Twisters because Spell Trap and Deletion is important for me in certain matchups. And the last one, this is a me thing, maybe I'm wrong. I have 3 Herald of Purple Light. Even at one point, I think there is enough trap decks that I believe going second, this is actually a decent card to have in hand if you know your opponent is going to try and trap you out. You know, if you're talking like Macrocosmos, if we're talking even just any kind of, you know, favorite contact, all sorts of trap cards, this comes in handy for. So, you know, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, we'll see. But this is my Darklord deck going into the Chaos Origins season. I am pretty happy with it so far. I'm going to keep testing it. I've got a friend coming up today. We're going to actually play some Paper Genesis later, and yeah, we'll see how I fare. I'm happy with what I've got here. I think it's a solid deck. I think it is going to compete, and I don't believe I'm going to be hit on the next point list. If I am, it will just be my staples and my side cards, and if anything, I think some of these points might come down. Looking at you, Ixchel, I'm really hoping they point Exodia and make Ixchel a little bit cheaper. That's it.